So, okay, sorry for late. So, let's start the next session. So, from today, what we are going to do is we are starting the next topic, which is very important topic and which is known as React Route. What it does is, okay, let me first share the screen and then I'll let you know. I'll tell you how does this work. Just a second. Let me open the PPT. Okay, I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible. Let me know if I'm not audible at all. Okay. So yesterday was day 23 and we have seen how to use the React props. So what is React props? It is while using this in as a JavaScript function, the JavaScript props can be passed as a functional arguments. And while using it in the HTML, we have to pass the attributes and the values. So this is how we can able to pass the React props, and React props is nothing but the React props is always treated as an object. That means the with the key value structure, and how to use it just like this props dot whatever the key has been passed. So by default, it comes as a props. And as Pragati asked me yesterday, props is not a reserved keyword. Um you can put any keyword instead of props here. But the standard practice while using the props in the React is by using the keyword props. Okay, moving to the next slide. So, how to use the React props? So, as I said, how to use it. So, while using it inside the HTML, we have to use this and as an attribute and value, just like this. So, value can be anything, even attribute can be anything, and it can be utilized just like this. So, props dot whatever the attribute has been passed. So this is how the prop works. And then we can able to collect those props inside this function. And inside this function, we can create any children functions, which are functional scope of the function which is defined inside the component function is just limited to use this within that component source file. So and we have seen just a gist of the basic React events just like this on click. So it is nothing but the JavaScript event, but how we can relate this with the React events, that's what we have seen yesterday. So while using this in the component DOM, we are using this as a JavaScript event, but while using this inside this prop just like this. So here is, suppose if I mention on click, then it will be treated as a prop, not as an event. But whenever I'm using this inside this component default DOM, it will be treated as a JavaScript event attribute. So that's what we have seen. So React event we haven't seen yet in the detail. So let us complete today's chapter, and after this probably you will be able to understand how to use the React events. So this was a summary for day 23. Today we are starting with the day 24. We just have two topics to cover, but the topics are vast. So I want you all to pay the attention very properly in this chapter. So this is a React list, or you can say the React loop, or you may say React repeater to this topic. So So how to use the loop inside React. So yesterday I have shown, I already have shown to you all how should the demonstration in which we already have understood that for loop cannot work inside the JSX. So in this return DOM parameter, if I so yesterday I tried to include the for loop inside this, and we saw that it was not working. Correct. So it was not allowed basically in the React. So React has started getting the errors. So, but there should be some method which should allow us to iterate in the list. So we already have passed the list of the students here. So now it's time to utilize it. So we already have a list of students in our code. So, okay, from yesterday it is working. Okay, all right. Let me change this. Okay, just a second. Let me set up this. I think I haven't shared the whole screen, entire screen. 1 second, let me change it. Okay, I hope my screen is now entirely visible. Okay, so what we are starting here is, okay, this is my React app. Now I'm starting up with the npm start command. And yes, it has started resolving here in the browser. Okay, so as we have just this address. So this address is nothing but abcxyz.com, something like this. So uh, so your college website is ckthacurcollege.net. So this is the base path, right? So whenever I visit some page inside this, suppose the about us page, so in which about we have this about Sanstha. So if you observe the URL here, second, suppose if I navigate to about Sanstha, now just observe this URL. Right now we are on ckthacurcollege.net, and now we are getting redirected to somewhere else. So here, it's not opening, it's not working. I don't know what's wrong. So let's go to vision goals. I think is working. My screen is visible and I'm audible, right? To you all?
Yes.
Yeah, so there must not be any issue with the internet. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not unable to. Okay, let's try something else. So, okay, so this is our website, skyq.tech. This is my company's website. So now, so this is the base URL. So we do not have anything after this, correct? Like this. So whenever I'm clicking on the About Us page, now just see this URL. So we call this as a base URL. And after this, when we are having a slash and about, or suppose if I go to services, it is slash services like this. So now in this case, we call this as a URI. Okay. So whenever we are browsing our React app, so this is considered as a base URL. So whatever I write after this is known as a URI, or you may say a path. So the path is always after this base URL. So this is we are going to cover in the next topic. So just keep this in the mind. Okay. So now what I am, again, we are repeating one thing. So by default, uh, as I told you in the second day of our React tutorial, that by default, so it was a app. See, this is the app.js page, and then we have this So I have created one component with my name, which is Saurabh.js, in which we have a header, then one image, that is the logo. And then we have included one component which were created. And in this component, we have provided two props. One is heading and another is list of the students separated with comma. Correct? So that is what we have done in this component with my name Saurabh. Okay. So in index.js, we have imported this component first, and by default, we have mentioned this component here. So this is the default component. Okay. Now, suppose if I want that whenever, so now on the base URL, this component is resolving, correct? So when I want to add something like this, suppose if I want to go to student hyphen list, okay, and I want to display something else here. Okay, right now the default component is being displayed here, but I want to display something else. Then what I have to do is I need to use the React routes. Okay, so yeah, so sorry, this is the React route is the next topic. So before that, sorry, I'm very sorry for the diversion. So before that, we are covering this React list, this map property. Okay, so we are going to see this map property first. So what is there inside this map property? It is nothing but the iterator, or you may say the loop to it. So we have one function which is returning this li, but and in this UL, we are using this map function. So dot map is a default function of JavaScript. So the JavaScript map array method means it's a function, is generally the preferred method to list something or to iterate something. Okay. So first of all, we have imported the React library. Then we are using a function, so which will return li with the given username in the props. And so this is one component. This is my component function. Now we have another component for list of the students, okay, in which we have the list of students already. So in our case, we have passed this list of students using the props, but here we have a ready list defined inside this variable. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I want to list a student one by one. So basically we have this line written for the one time and we want to use it here repeatedly. So we are using the student.map, in which we are passing the whole function as an argument here. Okay. And while passing whole function as an argument, we are having one parameter to that function. So student.map is JavaScript first function, which is expecting one function as an argument here inside this. Okay. So as an argument inside this React.map, we are passing one function inside, in which the student as a parameter. So every student, so map will iterate all the student list. So stud.map. So when we call this stud.map, it means every student will be iterated. Okay. So while the another function inside this will be executed at that time, uh, every student will be coming in every iteration. So this function will be executed on every student name. Okay. So while performing or while executing this function, each student will come as an argument here, just like a for loop. So we have a student name here, and in which we are calling this component. So whenever we are calling this component, this default DOM will be returned inside this. So let's have a practical example here. So right now in my index.js, my name as a Saurabh.js is our default component as of now, in which we have called or we have included this student list component, which is here. So we have a student list. Okay. And in the props, so props.list, we have a comma separated list of students. Okay. So now here we have a button just to demonstrate this function as an internal function which is working. So now what I want to do is I I want to create an unordered list, in which we have to add this li, and then we want to add props dot list inside this. So let's demonstrate this first, how it works. So whenever we are doing this, and here we have a comma separated list, but right now we just have a single list li tag, so single item, but we want to separate out every item for every student. So here, how we can use this map function? So in this curly braces, we have to write a React script or the JavaScript. Okay, so here what we can do, so we know that props.list will have a list inside this. So if I suppose go to length, it should probably written with the 40. Okay, 40. It is separated. Okay, let's ignore this. So when we have a props.list, we have a list of students. So if I split this using comma and space, just like this, just like here we have splitted the name list, then we have this student array. Okay, so now we know that there is an array inside the props.list. So what we can do is, inside the props.list, we can use the function map. Okay, now inside this function, as a first argument, we expect to provide a JavaScript function inside this. Okay, so this is how we define the function using the short form. It's a function short form. So in this map, we know that every single student name will come here. So we just define one parameter here as a student name for the just to showcase the short form. So as a student name. So inside this, what we can do is we can return this student name as it is. Okay, or what we can do is, instead of this li, we can provide this li inside this, just like this, li, li. And let's see how it works. It is returning with an error. Wow. One second. So, oh, sorry, I missed it. No. Okay, let's ignore this and let's try. Is it working? No. One second. Let me rerun the app. No, it's still returning with the error. So there is something wrong here. So, okay, let me cross check. Let me debug this. Okay. So let's again do the props.list. We have this list. Then we are using a map. So what is happening here? Okay, so this dot map is returning with an error. Okay, so let's ignore this. So instead of this props.list, what we have to do is, uh, let's define constant here. A constant student underscore list is equal to props dot list. So now we have defined one constant here inside this. So not inside return. Okay, before return we have to define this constant. Okay, so I have defined this. So I am deliberately ignoring this semicolon sign. You have to notice this. Okay, now we have this student list. So whenever I'm calling this student list as it is, let me check whether it is working or not. It's still not working. Okay. It's props dot. Oh, sorry. Yes, someone has unmuted. Okay, now we have the props dot list and we have a student list here. So if I define a student list dot map and suppose console dot, no, not console dot log, we have to define a function inside here, and then let's say name, and console dot log each name. Let's see what happens. So it is okay, it is returning with an error. Why? Question is why? Okay. Mm, name. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So student underscore list of name. This should probably work. It is also not working. So, wow, map is not a function, so it is not getting a function map here. Okay, so, okay, there is an issue with this. I don't know why, what's wrong here. The process is not defined. And this error is coming from here. Let me check this error first. Just give me a minute. Okay, so this error has gone now. It works like this. So what's an issue? Okay, so first, let's understand the type of this array. Type is string. Okay, so that is an issue. Oh, right. Correct. I made a mistake here. So, here we have a string. So let us split this first, comma and space. Now, probably we should have this type type of student list. Now it should be object. Yes, correct. So now this dot map function should work. Map, and then we are providing one function inside this console.log and stud underscore name as an argument here. So let me define this argument here, and probably it should resolve. Yes, we have the names of all the students. Okay, so it means, so before I use this dot split function, the list was just an array. Why? Because, sorry, the list was just a string, because it is a string. We haven't provided this as an array here in this list argument. So I have to convert this string as an array. So I'm splitting this with the comma and the space. Note that we have mentioned the space here. So if I remove this space, it should console log with the space. See, after this Bhavesh name, we have one space with Pragati, Shayan, Pratik, Sanket, correct? So I have to use this comma plus space here so that we can ignore this space. Now we do not have a space here. Okay. So this is how it is working. So now this function is working all well. So now instead of this console.log, what I'm defining here is I'm just defining the name of the student and it will be printed in this li. It is not. Okay, let me check. Okay, sorry. It is being printed inside this li. So I have to mention this li here. Correct. Now it should work. So I have ignored this li, and yes, we have a stud underscore name. Now what we can do is student list of student name. Now this should return with the, oops, sorry. Okay, it should be inside the curly brackets because it is a JavaScript, what we can say, it is a JavaScript expression. That's why it should be inside this curly bracket. So whatever the expression is defined, it should be inside this curly braces. So still it is defining with an error. So probably, no. Yes, now we have the names. So dot map function, still we have some error, have a unique key prop. Check the render method student list dot, and it has a unique key prop. Each child in list should have a unique key prop. Uh, Student list dot map. So probably we should ignore this. So because we have an array here, and this array or object, whatever. So now this map function works on array or object, whatever the data type we have, doesn't matter. The map will work for each and every parameter there inside the object or an array. So we have this loop. So this is the shortest method of defining the loop using this map. So in just a single line, we have created a loop. So it is iterating. It has started iterating. And we have this function provided as an argument to this map function. See this. So this, whenever we are using dot map, it means it will iterate a loop inside this. So that loop will call a function which is provided as an argument one here. So here we have provided this whole function. So this is a short form of the function, and this function has one argument with the student name. So whatever the array we have here, that value will come here as an uh, as a first argument. So and this value will be printed here. Suppose if I comma separate it, and suppose if I define this as a serial underscore number, probably this should return with a key. Yes. So this map function has two parameters. So the second is not compulsory. So we have this second parameter optional for the key. So while dot map will iterate a loop inside this, the first parameter is the value of each uh, each element of the object or an array, and the second one is the key. So here we have the key. So the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have keys here. So suppose if I change with this with the student name, again it will it it should return with the student names. So this is how dot map function works. So each child in a list should have a unique key prop. I don't know about this error, why it is coming up, but it is there. Uh, so let me check this and I'll let you know. So we have this map function here. So this is how this list works. So yes, so this is the list. Is it clear to you all, or should I explain it one more time? Hello, am I audible? I hope it is clear to you all. I'm assuming that it's clear. Sanket, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible. And
Yeah.
and dot map. So dot map function is clear to you all. So let's move on to the next topic. Okay, or should I explain it once again? Is there any need that I should repeat this? Okay, let's go for the React routes. So what is routes? So as I said earlier, so route is nothing but whenever I'm defining slash and ABCD or anything like this will be work as an routes here. So we have to define one route. Suppose if you are creating a website using React, then probably we would ask that how to define the pages using this URL, because if we have 3 to 4 HTML pages, and we saw while learning the HTML topic that how to hyperlink it. So while hyperlinking it, we are not, whenever we are not using a base URL, probably we are using the URI. So URI means whatever written after this base URL slash. So here if I define it ABC, this will be known as a URI. So now this is how we can work on this part. So here in my PPT presentation, it's little bit uh it's not a clear because this font size is not that bigger. So I'm explaining directly inside this app.js. I already have written this. So here so first of all, I need to change this component from here. I have to change this to app again. Okay, why? Because I have defined this routes. I have imported this routes inside my app component. So it is not mandatory to you always use the this route component inside this app component. I can use it inside this component as well. But just to keep the standardized practice, always app.js should be the first component. We call it as an index component, and in app.js only we generally the developers used to define this routes. So browser router, routes, and root. We are importing these three parameters from this default React router DOM library. So note down this line, or you can take a screenshot, because it is mandatory to install this npm package before we use this. Probably if you start using this, or if you try to import this three components from this React router DOM, probably your project will return with an error, because this React router DOM is one external npm package. So first let's understand how this package works. So we have a React router DOM. Okay, so this is the package which was published 6 years ago. And what this React router DOM does is, React router DOM package contains binding for using React router. So what is React router? So let's see this. The getting started guide for more information on how to get started with React router. So we have to check this guide first. So this is the command to install this. I already have installed it, but let me show it to you all. So we are clicking on the getting started. So React router is one package. So in this, what we can show, let me show you the proper things. Adding a router. So see, this is how we import the routers. Let me get in examples. So this is how we should visit the documentation part. So 1 second, let me check the proper thing. So in tutorial, so create browser router and router provider are the older versions, I think. 1 second. Router provider was a old version. So the newer version is React 6. So which is this one, the browser router. The browser router, then router and root. These are the three arguments which are the mandatory. Otherwise, there are so many things inside this, just like lazy, then loader, action, error element. Then we have async, await, form, link, but these are of no use for you at least. So uh, what is required is to first thing is to install this package. So to install this package, I just have shown to you all how to use that command of the npm. Then you have to import these three things. The browser route. So browser route stores the current location in browser's address bar using the clean URLs and navigate using the browser's built-in history stack. So this is very much important thing. Okay. So now in from this package we are importing three elements. So it is not mandatory to use to define three times the import. So we can use this for a single time and we can import three things. So in this case we have defined this import for the browser router. Then we are importing a router. So router is a low level interface that is shared by all router components. So I'll explain this. Then we have this root. So inside the browser router, we have a router. Inside the router, we have a root. So it means so browser router is probably the map, the all the roads map of the Indian territory. So we can probably tell this as a browser router. So it's a upper version, what we can say, upper version down planning. Then after that we have a router. So router is nothing but the which routes you want to take. So whether you are searching for a roads, car road, whether you are searching for a train route, or whether you are searching for a water route. So this is how the how we can look at the routers. And if you choose one route, then this route has a name. So National Highway 6 or National Highway 46. So this is the name of a route. This is how it works. So this is this is always defined using the XML. So these three things we are importing just using a single line, and we are importing this browser router routes and route just inside this app.js from this library React Router DOM. And this is how we are defining these routes. So this is just like a HTML. So as I said in the first tutorial, in React, whatever we are doing, we are just creating components and we are using it. So browser router is also one component which is being imported from this library. Inside the browser router, we have a routes component. So we are importing this routes component, and we are defining these three routes for this app. Okay. So by default, slash. So it will start accepting this slash. So we have a default slash here. Where it is? Yes, we have this default slash here. See this. So this slash is hidden, but if I add this slash here, and if I enter, that still we are this browser is returning the default component here. So default component is a default route, and we are just by using this route parameter here, just like this, we are defining that this route is also, this path is also acceptable. Okay. Then here, see, this is here we have defined index. Why we are defining index? Because here in this route, we haven't added any route. So this thing is known as route. In fact, if we add one more slash and this and slash and ABCD, still these three routes is nothing but this is a one route. This is a probably main route, inside which this is a subroute, and in this subroute we have a third subroute here. So probably we should look at this like this. So here we are defining a route, and this is just a slash. This is a default route. We call this as an index route. So by using the word index, we are defining index route, and this element attributes is used to define which component should be rendered on this route. So by default, we are using this my name component. So first of all, in this index, we have added app. Okay. Now in this app, we have imported browser routes and route. Okay. And in this, we have defined, we have, first of all, we have allowed this slash route. In this slash, we have added this index route. And in this index route, we are defining the Saurabh as a basic route. And here, even after saving this, we can see that this is working. Okay. Now let me create one component quickly so that I can demonstrate. So here I'm saving this as a home.js. Let me change this name from here. So I'm changing this name as a home here. I'm removing this student list from here. And even I'm removing this image tag. And in this, I'm just adding h1 with home. Okay. So I have defined a home component inside our app. And now what I'm doing is I'm changing this as a home component. First of all, let me import this. Okay, so let's copy and paste this. So here we have to understand that whatever and however the routes we are using here, we have to define this all components. We first need to import these components in this app.js, and then we have to use this. So here I have imported this home as well as my name component here, and now I'm using it here as a home. So let's see how it works. So by default, without anything, this home component is now visible. Okay. Now let me create a root. So here I'm putting my name. So slash Saurabh should render my name component. So slash Saurabh. Okay, now index has this app component. In this app, we have a roots. So I'm repeating this just for the better understanding. And as an index, we have this home component. Then for slash Saurabh, we have this Saurabh component. Okay, so by default, here that my name component was being displayed. Now I have defined a root for that component, and here we can see. So on slash Saurabh, this component is being displayed. Correct? Now I have defined one more component here. Now look at this. So in this component of my name, where it is, so Saurabh.js, okay, in which we have imported this student list component and we have used this under this component, correct? Now what I'm doing is, so in student list, let me import this CSS file just for the background color. So now we have this H1, one button and list of students inside this, correct? So what I'm doing here is, for student hyphen list, we just have called a student list component. Okay. So let me copy this and paste it in a browser. So, and let's see how it works. So sorry, we have a double slash here. I'm removing one slash and we have a student list. It is not working. I don't know what's wrong. Let me check. So here what we can see. Okay, so the process is not a function. Then okay, split of undefined. Oh, yes, got it. So what happens, what's happened here is the props. So here we just have mentioned this component and we haven't passed anything. So heading is blank, nothing is defined here. So here I'm defining one heading. So rendered using router. So I'm changing the heading. So now probably it should work. Yeah, now the list of student is not provided. So I'm also providing a list. So student one, student two, that's it. And let me check. Yes, now it is appearing here. So as this two properties were not defined inside this, it was returning with an error. So as soon as I have listed this two props here inside this, now it has started working. So here, first we need to check whether this props are present or not before we use this. Okay, so this dot split function was undefined because this list prop was not set. That's why it was returning with an error. So here, what we can do is we can use if else. So if, so I'm putting the if here and else. So in else, what we can do is we can define with an error. So in this else, we have a default div, which is ending here. And inside this, we have a h1 and we have no props. Okay, just no props. Okay. So let's define a condition for if. So suppose this if props dot heading, oops, props dot heading is equal to undefined and props dot list is also equal to undefined, not and or. The both, yeah, and we have to use and because this both the properties should exist to work on this both the properties should exist, correct? So if it is there, then it will return with this. Okay. Otherwise, it will return with an error. Okay, so let's see whether this it works or not. So yes, we have this no props because in this student list, we do not have any props. So we have props actually. I don't know what's wrong here. So let me change this. So it's equal to, oh, sorry, it should be, it's not equal to undefined. Then it should work. So now it should, yes, now it is working. So now in this app.js, suppose if I remove any one of the prop from here. So whenever I'm removing one prop, now we just have a heading. So here it is returning with an error, no props. Okay, suppose if I'm defining it once again, and we have this here, and suppose if I'm removing one prop from here, saving, we have no props. Okay, so this two props with the heading and list should be present, otherwise it won't work. Okay, this is how, so this thing is known as a error handling. So we have handled an error here using this if else statement. Okay, and we have returned here. So okay, now let's go ahead and see the next method. Now we have this path star. Why this is like this? So I have created one no page component here, in which I have clearly mentioned that error 404 in the h1. Just like this home, in this home we have one h1 calling this as a home. So just like that, I have mentioned this h1, and I need to change the name. I forgot to change the name here. So not like this. So instead of app, I have to define this method as a no page. So no page, and we are also defining this no page here. Okay. Now this should work. So star means whatever we are writing after this slash and which is not defined here will be considered as a star. So suppose here I am writing anything randomly and enter. So it is returning with an error 404. Why? Because it will be considered as an star. Star means anything. So first it will look for the path, whatever the path we are accepting. So that path, suppose it is resolving. So no path is given, it will be considered as an index. After that, suppose if this path is there, then it should render this element. Suppose this path is there, it will render this element. And for star, it will render this no page component, which is like this. So we have this error 404 written inside this. All right, understood. I hope uh it is you have understood all of these things. I hope that. Suppose if you have a doubt, please let me know. So we are working with the roots. Is there any doubts? So now we have home, then we have Saurabh, and we have a logo, and we have a component inside this. Then we are having this student list, and we have a student list, and function is working on this. So this is how the React routes work. Anybody has any errors, any questions with this? Hello, Bhavesh, are you there? Bhavesh, are you traveling or you are there?
Sir, I'm in traveling.
Lokendra Jogeshwar Sahu, are you there? Prasad Patil.
Yes, sir.
So Jogeshwar, what is React router? Can you tell me? Please raise your hand. Who can able to tell me what is React router? Please raise your hands. Pragati, Chaitanya, Sanket, Bhavesh, you are traveling, right? But can you explain? Hello, Bhavesh?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain what is React Router?
Uh, mm,
Hello, Pragati, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is React Router? Yes, Pragati. Sanket, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain me what is React Router?
React Router used for building single page applications.
Okay,
Uh,
where is it written? It's not written anywhere that it is being used for use for a single page. Where you have seen this? Probably you have been searched like this, React Router definition. So it is also not defined here. So who said that it has been used to use for a single page application? Tell me.
sir, मला वाटलं की राउटर डोम
Yes.
रिएक्ट राउटर डोम सर्च केलं सर.
Okay. React Router DOM. Okay.
या
Okay. So by default, React is also a single page application. So
Okay.
there is no need uh, for React Router DOM. So by default, React is a single page application. In fact, Angular is also a single page application. So what happens here? Let me explain this to you all. So in this application, we have in this public, we have this index.html. Okay. So other than this index.html, we don't have a HTML page. Correct? So in this HTML page, we have this root, right? The div with the name root. So always this page is just one page, and inside this div, whatever we are defining, this will be rendered inside this element. So by default, the React is a single pager application. So there is no question whether the React router DOM is single pager or not. So by default, React is a single pager. Is it clear to you all?
यस सर.
Yeah. So tell me, Pragati, can you explain? Rutuja, are you there? Rutuja, are you there? Rutuja,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me what is React router? What is React router, Rutuja? Hello? Rutuja, please try to explain what is React router. I always ask you all, if you have any confusion, you can ask the questions, but no one is asking the questions, and now you all are not even able to explain it, whatever we have learned. So how should we proceed with this? Because this is the mandatory thing, right? To learn. At least try to explain. Hello. At least try to explain what is React router DOM. At least try to explain. Hello. Okay, I think we should end this lecture. We have covered today's topic. So if you have any doubts, you can drop it on the WhatsApp group. Fine. Okay. Should I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Bye.